Underwriting deals is such a major pain point for people. Most don't want to do it, and the people that are good at it are few and far between. That is why after 6 years of being in the industry and buying over 1,200 apartments, using my best-selling multifamily deal analyzer, I created Real Estate Lab, a full suite acquisition software for multifamily investors. We have built a product that helps investors automate their acquisitions and close more deals, all in a cloud-based platform. You can go to realestatelab.com and sign up today using the promo code TAG2 for 10% off your first 12 months. This is David Tupin. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Apartment Gurus, where we dive deep into all things multifamily investing. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower real estate investors to reach their highest potential. Each week, host Tate Seamer and co-host Chelsea Garber interview high-level guests from all over the industry who are sure to bring valuable, actionable ideas that will propel your business to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, you are in the right place. And now your hosts, the Apartment Gurus, Tate Seamer and Chelsea Garber.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Apartment Gurus, and we're back in the saddle with the one and only Chelsea Garber, my business partner and podcast co-host, and we're really excited to be talking to you guys today. Chelsea, how you feeling?
I'm super excited because after a week off hiatus from the podcast, I'm happy to dive back in with and spend time with, you, Tate, outside of our business and, just get to share. I think we have an exciting couple of topics we're going to discuss today with our listeners that we're both very passionate about. Yeah.
And for those of you that might be new to the podcast, the way that we publish 2 episodes a week, and one of them is like this with Chelsea and myself, trying to bring as much value from our business, from Greenlight Equity Group, as we can, our experience doing this business and doing deals. And the other episode is a high level interview with somebody in the business that is ideally crushing it and can bring lots of value to you and your business as well. So listen to as many of these episodes as you can. This is a great way of self-educating and self-inspiring. Podcasts were a huge start for both Chelsea and myself getting started. And they're really just a wealth of knowledge, because let's face it, as podcast hosts, we are trying to help you and we're trying to serve you. And the only way we can do that is by bringing you really valuable stuff. And the only way that we can do that is to be authentic about our experiences and share with you the goods and the bads, the uglies, and hopefully you can avoid some mistakes and also take advantage of some really positive action tips. So Chelsea, what are we talking about today?
Well, this topic is definitely true to our heart, and it is the power of mentorship and coaches more specifically. And what does it look like to hire a coach? What for? In this business, there's many different coaches. Tate and I, we actually share a coach, and he's more of a performance, I guess, life, business, a little bit of everything. Yeah. But we started out our journey with him not too far. I was probably a couple months after you. And it's been absolutely, I think I speak for both of us, a tremendous game changer in our business, first and foremost. And the level of success that we had, I think we contributed a lot to our coach. And in our personal lives, I think we've really evolved and grown as, stronger individuals, which in turn has made our team stronger. So Excited to talk a little bit about those coaches more specifically and help some of our listeners maybe who are out there and, whether it be looking for their first, coach or mentor when it comes to getting into multifamily investing and, why everybody should have a coach in this business.
Yeah. And look, Chelsea and I each had a multifamily specific coaching program that we enrolled in. There were 2 separate. Chelsea did the Michael Blanc program, which we have no official affiliation with any of these groups, but we do like to share the value and resources with you. So Chelsea did the Michael Blanc coaching program, which is a year-long program where you get your own coach. They're dedicated to you. And the whole focus is getting your first deal. I did a coaching mastermind with Corey Peterson, the big kahuna, shout out to him, and learned the business through him, learned all the terminology, the concepts, the marketing, everything that you need, raising capital, everything that you need to go get a deal done. These programs are designed for you to do them. And consider that this could be your very, very first action step that you take when you are getting started in this space. And I would encourage it to be amongst your first action steps, because you just cannot overstate the value of a powerful coach that is going to, number one, share their tips and success experience and everything else on the positive with you, and also share mistakes that they've made so that you can avoid them. And so, we talk about the power of mentors all the time. If you listen to almost every episode, every interview we've done on this show, just about everybody has a key mentor, a key coach in their background that they attribute to really getting them started in the space. So, it's just a key thing to have in place. And I guess the first point that I would like to make about this is that I would say that getting a paid coach, a paid mentor, is really where it's at, because for a few reasons. Number one, an unpaid mentor just doesn't have the dedication level to you, and is going to need to kind of do their own thing inside of their business, and ultimately you may be disappointed in how much you get out of that relationship. So that's one. Number two is they might just kind of get kind of bored of the situation without there being an equal value exchange, right? So things in life and in business and in the universe work on energy and work out of value exchange. And that's the economy these days is really value. So obviously a good mentor is going to add tremendous value to you, because you're going to go out and do millions and millions of dollars worth of deals. You're going to be making ideally hundreds of thousands just even in your first year or two. And so the $10,000 to $20,000 coaching level is really, in the grand scheme of things, not that much of an investment when you're talking about raising capital from people that are, have worked hard for their money, and you're taking on the responsibility of managing their money and investing their money wisely. And so you owe it, in my opinion, you owe it to those people, to your teammates, to your partners, to be as well prepared and well educated for this as you can be. And I don't know about you, Chelsea. I think I do know what your opinion is on this, but I can't think of a better way to jumpstart your career in apartment investing than coaching.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I really think it is, quite frankly, the only route to go. If you ask my honest opinion, I would be very hesitant to go into multifamily without working or had worked with somebody and continuing to work with somebody or our circle of people, coaches and mentors on our team, because you can certainly go get your first deal and probably get it done, but it's going to really be the differentiator about how well do you do your first deal. And, we talk about it all the time is, yes, it is a ton of work to get to your first deal, and then owning and operating is a whole lot more work. So it's not just let's get the first deal. It's, this is the big picture here. And it just comes back to having somebody who's made, like we talk about on the podcast, somebody who's made mistakes and can share those, what to do, what not to do, resources, tips, ins and outs. It's absolutely imperative to find a coach and to Tate's point, paid coaching program. And we say this again, it's worth its weight in gold, and they're not by any means inexpensive. They're not designed to be inexpensive because they're creating a ton of value. So this goes back to like the currency and exchange. So, what you put in and usually what you spend is what you get out.
Absolutely. And that's so true with really any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or, a parental relationship or family relationship, like business relationship, totally. You get out of it what you put into it. So really, you really want to look at, obviously, is this coach worth what they're charging? But that's obviously a first step. But the second step is to look at, okay, if they're worth it, if they're bringing the goods, is that going to move the needle for me to the next level of my business? And if the answer is yes, then by all means, I think you want to do that. So, Chelsea, would you kind of share what your experience with the Michael Blanc program was like, and kind of maybe generalize a little bit more to the whole industry? Like, what were the key things that you got out of that? Because you hadn't done any deals before the Michael Blanc program.
No, I had never done any sort of multifamily investing prior. I'd flipped a couple of single family houses, and I kind of came about Michael Blanc just via way of podcasts. This was in 2019. I had been listening to his podcasts and others, and I was just really gravitated towards himself as a host and a successful multifamily owner and operator. And he offered a coaching program. So at the time, this was in 2019, I thought, if I'm going to go, full-time into multifamily, which of course, most people don't just quit their job and go full-time into multifamily. It happens a little bit over time, but having had no real prior multifamily, commercial experience before, this was an opportunity to work not only one-on-one with a coach in his program, but also get to know other students who were in the same boat and learning and connecting and, going to all the big national events. So I chose that platform for a couple of different reasons. And really what it entailed, it was, as you mentioned, a year-long coaching program. And it offered both individual coaching. You don't work with Michael directly. In the beginning, you do have a call with him to sort of strategize, but essentially you get assigned a mentor, a coach, and you work with that person over the course of the year. You meet with them, once or twice monthly, but then you also have weekly meetings and groups. So you're constantly sharing and feeding information. But what really, I think, stood out to me was, like you said, Tate, I wouldn't have felt comfortable raising capital from very hard-earned capital especially from friends and family, the people that you're raising from the beginning, and putting their money into deals unless I felt that I was at a level of sophistication and knowledge to undertake, owning multifamily assets and having somebody on my team, really. So the coaching program, first as part of the program, you want to identify the market that you want to invest in. They kind of get into some very preliminary work, the ins and outs of, speaking with brokers, looking, property tours. You go really, really deep into analysis of underwriting, putting together a sample deal package. How do you communicate with investors? I mean, it is like a total crash course on getting your first multifamily deal and having somebody kind of in the driver's seat or the passenger seat along the way.
Yeah.
So,
co-pilot.
Co-piloting and just having them on, sort of on speed dial, right? Like, I've got a deal. I think it underwrites well. Can I send you my underwriting? Can we look at it together and kind of go through, okay, what makes sense? What didn't make sense? Am I being too aggressive here? Not aggressive enough? And these are the types of things as you begin underwriting that, some people may or may not be familiar with thus far, but these things make or break deals. And to be able to fine tune them in the correct direction will ultimately lead to your success. So they say it, very early on, you will quite possibly underwrite 100 deals before you get one. And in some cases, that's very true. I don't know if it was 100, but I think prior to teaming up with Greenlight, I must have looked at, 30 or 40, had submitted offers on a handful, gone on property tours, then, joined Greenlight in 2020 and continued on that trajectory. So it is by no means a get rich quick scheme. We always say that in this business, but these are the building blocks and the foundation of your business. And they're going to lead you to working with other partners, with KPs. Like this is truly coaching is the fundamentals and foundation that is absolutely necessary, to start in the space.
Yeah. It just occurred to me that your 2-year anniversary with Greenlight's coming up here pretty quickly.
It is this fall.
I know, huh? That's super exciting. Chelsea's been just a wonderful addition to our team. And as many of you know, it was just Carl and myself for a long time. And Chelsea's presence and experience, and you speak the language of this business as well as anybody that I've met, Chelsea, and you make your presentation of ideas, concepts, deals, opportunities is really fantastic. And I love having you as a kind of face of the company. And you're not the face of the company necessarily, but you're a huge part of the face of the company. And so that's very exciting. So my coaching mastermind was, basically a mentorship. It was certainly a paid scenario with Corey Peterson. And there are maybe 14, 15 other people in the group with me. But one of the things that the mastermind consisted of was a one-on-one day with Corey individually. So I went to Phoenix, spent an entire day with him in his office, and he just laid his business out for me on the table, and really shared finding the deals, funding the deals, and then managing the deals. That was the 3 focuses. And amongst other things, you learn to speak the language of this business. And that is super key to creating a level of confidence in whoever you're speaking to and a layer of credibility for you. And so amongst other things, as you learn this stuff, as you learn what NOI is and what a cap rate is and how to underwrite and all that stuff, you're actually building your confidence because you are building your skill set and your tool set. And that's, that's huge value because in my opinion, the mindset is fundamental to everything else in the business. I'm doing a keynote on Wednesday night. This is July 11th that we're recording this. So it likely will have passed. I will have already done it by then, but there's going to be a heavy focus on mindset as a starting foundational piece to your business because, the cliche, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. And if you believe that you can, you're going to be unstoppable. And if you don't believe that you can, it's just about the opposite. You're getting something done is going to be very, very difficult. So working on your limiting beliefs is huge. And one of the easiest, best ways to do that is to put yourself in a room with a mentor, or in this case, with me, it was a mentor and often 14, 15 other people, all wanting to do the same thing. Some of them have done their first deal. Others of us hadn't. And when you're in that kind of intensive, high growth environment, you're going to learn things and you're going to level up to the people around you. It's just a natural outcome of putting yourself in the right rooms. And, we've talked before about national conferences. That's kind of another topic, but being in the masterminds, being in the right room is super key to building mindset and crushing your limiting beliefs. So amongst other things, one of the things Corey did for us was he helped us develop a credibility kit for our company. And a credibility kit is really nothing more than a company profile that, the cover page, it's your logo and maybe one of your properties or something like that. Really, it's like a 5-6 page document that really summarizes why you do the deals you do, how you do the deals you do, who your team is, and what your portfolio is. And obviously, if you haven't done a deal yet, you don't have much to show in the way of a portfolio, and you may not have a team yet either. Well, one of the things that Corey offered was to be on our board of essentially our executive board at Greenlight. And so our original credibility kit, number one, was really designed by Corey and his team. And it included Corey and his wife, Shelly, as our partners. They were on our executive board. members of our team. And we were able to therefore leverage Corey's experience, his net worth, and his liquidity, which are the three ingredients of getting a loan, amongst other things. And we were also able to leverage his portfolio and put his properties on our credibility kit to start. Now we've done, I guess, 7 big deals, eight deals since then. And so we have enough of a portfolio now that we have our own. And of course, Corey's not on the board of advisors anymore, the executive board. And we didn't actually end up doing a deal with him, but that presence in our company and his willingness to step up and be a potential partner with us on deals. And that was very much in play, by the way, is that, if we had a big deal, we could take it to Corey and say, hey, here's this deal, you want to partner on it. Those things right there are without a price tag. They're truly value, like not value. What's the word I'm looking for?
Or invaluable.
Invaluable. Yeah. I mean, just, you can't put a price tag on it. So that was really like what got us started in multifamily. It was one of the first steps, if not the first step that we took. We had done some smaller multifam deals, but to get into the larger scale, 50, 60, 100 unit, 150 unit and up type properties really took a different level of personnel and experience than what we had. I forget what it was, $1,000 a month or something that we paid Corey to be in that program, like worth every penny and exponentially more, because we now own $50 million worth of property and 7 different communities and 2 different markets. And we're cooking, we're raising capital, we're finding deals, and we're doing the business at a decent level. And, to me, I look back at that foundational stuff. And of course, there were other things. There were the audiobooks and the podcasts and the conferences and the colleagues and the meetup groups. And you want to do all of those things. You really do. You want it to be a holistic approach to your business. And however, that coaching piece, I just can't say enough about it. Like, if you're listening to this right now, you really, really want to consider finding a paid coaching program. And there's numerous of them out there. If you want to reach out to Chelsea and myself at investwithgreenlight.com, we'll be happy to share with you the ones that we know of. And I suppose this is a good time to make a big official announcement, which is that I'm going to be starting a one-on-one coaching program that's going to start in September at the beginning of the fall. And it will be a very personal, almost intimate kind of setup where and our sole focus is going to be getting that first deal done. Like, that's all we're going to be focused on. Of course, there's lots of components of that. Mindset's going to be a big, big piece, but really the steps from starting out from nothing to getting that first deal closed and getting your asset management rolling forward after ownership, everything in between is going to be encompassed in this coaching. I don't have a ton of time we are so busy at Greenlight. So I'm only going to be taking maybe 6 or 8 students, something like that. It's not students, clients. I guess you could say students, but yeah, totally. Rookies, newbies. No, I'm kidding. And, we're going to dig in and we're going to look at limiting beliefs. We're going to look at what it's going to take to crush those and get rid of them. So there's going to be a lot of personal growth aspect to the program. And then there's just going to be a lot of nuts and bolts, how to write LOIs, letters of intent, how to underwrite, how to do proper due diligence, how to get equity for your deals, how to get the loan for your deals. There's a lot of moving parts. And, a lot of people will go into their first deal not even knowing what the moving parts are. Mm-hmm. So you're automatically going to be starting out at a way ahead of the game by being a part of this coaching program. And this isn't an ad or a pitch for the program. It's more of this is just another resource that you have available to you. So if you want to learn more, reach out to us at investwithgreenlight.com and we'll get you all the details. So Chelsea, what do you think about all that?
To add to that, when it comes to finding a coach, it's it's like dating, right? You want to make sure that it's a good fit. So interview, ask questions, listen, read their books, their podcasts. This is a large investment, and you want to make sure it's mutually beneficial. And some coaches are going to have very different styles than others. And I think what's going to be, so exciting about Tate, about your coaching program is the mindset factor, because you're not only an avid learner, but you've always been a passionate teacher. And we talk about all this time that it is all mindset based. So this business is challenging, and you're going to come up against a lot of hard stuff, and you're going to hear a lot of no's. A lot of deals are not going to work, and you have to have the belief system that you can push through this, and you can, and you will. And to have somebody in your corner from that standpoint, I think is probably very underlooked in a lot of the other mentorship programs. It gets tough out there. I personally, my motto was, it really was, I absolutely had from Hal Elrod, unwavering faith and absolute just belief that I could get this done. And then to be able to do it with a team like that, that's how ultimately I got into my first deal and have scaled into much larger deals and grown into green light and a portfolio. But that took time. That, everybody I think here sees and hears on the podcast all the success that we're having and all the other syndicators, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. There was years and years in the making before we got there, and just continue to believe in yourself. And this is for all areas of your life, and put one step in front of the other and one foot in front of the other every day. That's, so huge.
Yeah. And, the truly successful people in their field, whether it's athletics or business, especially entrepreneurship, have coaches and mentors. Like the big successful people that have done hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business are in masterminds. And a lot of them are in 3 or 4 masterminds. And a lot of them have performance coaches like our coach, Jamil. And we'll wrap up the episode by sharing with you a little bit about Jamil. So Tiger Woods had 5 or 6 coaches at his peak, and he had a swing coach and a putting coach. And guess what? None of them were as good a golfer as Tiger. Right. But he was, he knew the value of surrounding himself with people that were invested in him, were invested in his success, and knew what it takes. As an outside perspective, they knew what it would take to get Tiger to get the maximum performance out of himself. So that's really what a good coach will do for you. And like Chelsea said, to your point, Chelsea, not every coach is great for everyone. Just on a personality level, you want to make sure that you enjoy that person, that you respect them, you admire their success, and you kind of click with them, right, on a personality level. So like Chelsea said, it's important to interview, to vet, to listen to podcasts, to read their books, and treat it like a dating relationship. Make sure that you are getting in bed, so to speak, with the right coach. That will
speak to coaching students. People have been in their program and ask for candid feedback. I tell people all the time the things I did like and I did not like about all of the coaching programs that I've been in. And some of it's very personal to me, but I think that, is a fair service to offer when you speak to other, coaching students or graduates. Learn not just the good, but also what didn't work and why.
Right. Yeah. And think of these programs or a coaching program as like a turbo in your engine, it's an accelerator, right? It really is designed to put you way ahead of the game from where you otherwise would be if you were trying to figure it out on your own. It's going to take you and it's going to take that 2-3 year learning curve and compress it into 6 months, ideally. And, Chelsea mentioned that it's difficult to get that first deal done, that you're up against a lot of things, lack of experience, maybe lack of confidence, lack of a track record with a broker or in a certain market, lack of knowledge of a market. And you want to give yourself every advantage that you can because a lot of times you're going to be competing for other offers and everything else. And especially on that first deal, it's really important. But what Chelsea didn't mention, and it is important to note, is things get easier after that first deal gets done. And it's just a rule in this business, like a law in this business. Michael Blanc calls it the law of the first deal. And he's right that it takes a lot to get over that first hump. And when you do, you start to get some tailwind behind what you're doing, and people take note and start bringing you deals, and investors start bringing you money. And like the key parts of doing this business show up in a way that they would never have if you didn't get that first deal done. So it's kind of like you kind of earn your stripes in this business with that first deal. And it's just something you want to be almost obsessed about getting done. And if you're obsessed with something, you're putting everything you have into it, including financial resources, right? So, and these are, you're not just throwing money around. This is very, very calculated and strategic. That's, it's an investment. The ROI is going to be massive for you. I mean, the ROI just on the first deal is going to be massive for you. So if you have a coach and the promise of the coaching is that first deal, and you haven't done a first deal yet, that's one you may want to consider. So good stuff, Chelsea. Anything else on coaching for the listeners?
No, and I would just say when it comes to choosing a coach and making the investment, perhaps you don't have a lump sum of money to invest up front. See if they'll do a payment plan. Like a lot of times, I think these coaches are willing to work with you because they've been in your shoes and they want to help you and figure out a financial way to help you get there. And I can't speak for all of them, but I've worked with different coaches where we've had different payment terms. So it wasn't like, I just, $24,000 up front, we could break it up. And so, ask those types of questions. If you're thinking that, maybe you can't afford a coach, change your mindset. Think, how can I afford the coach? Right. Or what can I do to afford the coach?
Yep. Because guess what? And you're going to have to be resourceful about getting deals done. You're going to have to go out and find hundreds of thousands of dollars, $500,000, $1 million. If you can't find the money for $20,000 or whatever it is to hire a coach for a year, that's going to hold your hand and meet with you regularly and invest in you and maybe be on your credibility kit and help you develop that and help you develop your vivid vision and your goals. Then if you can't figure that out, it's probably not a good sign for how well you're going to do the business. So I don't say this very often, but go get it done, guys. Figure it out and it will come back to you in droves, I promise. So just to wrap up, Chelsea and I work now with a performance coach. Chelsea mentioned at the beginning, his name's Jamil Syed, and he's somebody that, we've learned the multifamily business. Of course, we're learning more and more every single day, and having mentors in this space is still very important to us. Jamil's approach is very holistic. He coaches performers, in his words, champions, athletes, leaders. Those are all the key parts of his coaching. By the way, he's got a tremendous podcast called Transformation Starts Today. I'd highly, highly recommend listening to that. Because it's free coaching from him, basically. I've worked with Jamil for over a year and a half now, and my life is unrecognizable from where it was a year and a half ago, truly. In terms of business, in terms of balance sheet, in terms of relationships, in terms of dating, all the important stuff in my world, spirituality, physical health, all of it is vastly different than it was a year and a half ago. And a lot of that is just, stuff that comes with hard work and grinding it out. But when you're grinding it out with somebody that's got your back and that can see bigger picture than you and can see things in you that maybe you can't, man, that's just high octane, putting high octane fuel in a race car. You just doesn't get any better.
Tate, I've been also working with Jamil almost a year and a half as well. And I always say, I'm like, everyone needs a Jamil in their life, some form. If it's not him, if it can't be him, like somebody, because like you said, it's like we're two different students we're on a similar path in our life as far as our careers, but we, in our spirituality in this, but, as separate humans, for both of us to say in the last year and a half of our lives have been so transformative, it goes back to our coach. Like that is what changed us from what we were doing up to then to what we're doing now and our success. And it speaks volumes to him. Or to the other coaches out there, and, just constantly learning and growing and evolving. And, this is life coaching. There's no we finish this program and then we're done. It's okay. What do we do next? Or who do we add into the rotation? I know this year I hired a capital raising coach who was fantastic. And, it's kind of just fine tuning how you're doing things and doing the most successfully.
Yeah. Well said. That's a great place to wrap it up, Chelsea, I think. And hopefully listeners, you got a lot out of this, and hopefully you're inspired to go out and find a coach. Now, one of the things that we can offer you is a resource that's just a list of the different coaching programs that we know of, the ones that we think highly of. And we're happy to provide that to you. You just need to email us through the website, or you can just go to tate@glequitygroup.com or chelsea@glequitygroup.com. We're happy to share any and all resources that we have with you. We're an open book. We're here to serve and here to help. So by all means, reach out to us and, go get a mentor, go get a coach, and be willing to pay them because they're worth it. So thank you, listeners, for listening to another episode of The Apartment Guys. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you, Tate, for having me on here.
It's always a pleasure.
I absolutely love it and love getting to share our stories with everyone. And I just hope that, there's one thing you take away from every episode and you're here to the end. Like Tate always says, like you're going in the right direction, but don't get into analysis paralysis, take action. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. All right, guys. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you on the next episode of The Apartment Gurus. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Apartment Gurus with Tate Seymour. Tate and Chelsea are grateful to have you as a loyal listener. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share with friends on your Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. Also, check out Tate's YouTube channel for videos of many of these episodes and more. Until next time, take massive action steps and rock on.